నమస్తే అండి. నేను ఇప్పుడు ఒక ఫేమస్ సెలబ్రిటీ అడ్వకేట్తో ఉన్నాను. హీఈస్ దిల్జిత్ సింగ్ అహ్లూవాలియా, సీనియర్ కౌన్సిల్ ఫ్రమ్ సుప్రీం కోర్ట్. ఈయన చాలా పాపులర్ కేసెస్ డీల్ చేశారు. రీసెంట్గా TV9 రవిప్రకాష్ గారి యాంటిసిపేటరీ బెయిల్ మ్యాటర్ కూడా ఈయనే చేశారు. అండ్ మీకు గుర్తుందో లేదో, మోనికా బేడీ కేసు కానివ్వచ్చు, తర్వాత జగన్మోహన్ రెడ్డి గారి కొన్ని కేసెస్ కానివ్వచ్చు, ఇట్లా ఇంకా ఎట్టి పరిస్థితుల్లో వీళ్లకు బెయిల్ రాదు అని అనుకున్న సందర్భంలో బెయిల్స్ తీసుకొచ్చిన ఘనత దిల్జిత్ సింగ్ అహ్లూవాలియాది. సో హీఈస్ విత్ మీ. మన తెలుగు వాళ్లకు, అండ్ హీస్ బీన్ సో పాపులర్ అట్ హైదరాబాద్ ఆల్సో, తెలుగు వాళ్లకు పరిచయం చేయాలి బికాస్ హీఈస్ ఐకానిక్ ఫిగర్ ఇన్ ద ఫీల్డ్ ఆఫ్ లా, కాబట్టి పరిచయం చేయాలనిపించింది. అండ్ ద సెకండ్ థింగ్ ఈజ్ హైదరాబాద్తో ఆయనకున్న అసోసియేషన్, హైదరాబాద్ హైకోర్టుతో తనకున్న అసోసియేషన్ గురించి మాట్లాడతాను. అంతేకాకుండా నిన్న మొన్ననే నేను ఒక సీనియర్ అడ్వకేట్ ఫ్రమ్ హైదరాబాద్ కళానిధి గారిని ఒక జర్నలిస్ట్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ చేస్తుండగా ఆయన కన్నీళ్లు పెట్టుకోవడం నేను చూశానండి. దాని గురించి కూడా దిల్జిత్ గారి అభిప్రాయం తెలుసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాను. అండ్ ద సెకండ్ థింగ్, ఈ మధ్య కాలంలో జర్నలిస్టుల మీద కేసెస్ బాగా పెరిగిపోతున్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు లీగల్ అనేది మన జీవితంలో ఒక భాగం అయిపోయింది. వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ పోలీస్ స్టేషన్, వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ కోర్ట్, డాక్టర్, లాయర్ లేకుండా మన జీవితాలు ముందుకెళ్ళడం లేదు. ఈ కోవిడ్ క్రైసిస్ వల్ల ఆ మాత్రల కోసం కానివ్వచ్చు, ట్రీట్మెంట్స్ కోసం కానీ వాటికే డబ్బులు లేని పరిస్థితుల్లో మళ్ళీ ఏదో ఒక రకంగా ఏదో ఒక చిన్న చిన్న విషయాన్ని, కానీ సోషల్ మీడియా వచ్చేసిన తర్వాత మాట్లాడడం ఎక్కువైపోయింది, జనాలు మాట్లాడడం ఎక్కువైపోయింది. ఈ టైంలో లీగల్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్స్ కూడా భరించలేక, ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సోషల్ మీడియాలో చాలామంది మాట్లాడుతూ ఉంటారు, జర్నలిస్ట్తో పాటు కామన్ పీపుల్ కూడా, వాళ్ళ మీద కూడా కేసులు వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఒక అడ్వకేట్ని సంప్రదించాలి. అడ్వకేట్ని సంప్రదించాలంటే అమ్మో కాస్ట్లీ కదా అడ్వకేట్స్, డాక్టర్స్ ఎంత కాస్ట్లీయో అంతకన్నా కాస్ట్లీ అడ్వకేట్స్. కాబట్టి ఎట్లా సంప్రదించాలని చెప్పేసి జనాలు జుట్టు బీక్కుంటున్నారు. అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం మన సీనియర్ అడ్వకేట్, నేను చెప్పిన సీనియర్ అడ్వకేట్ నిన్న కన్నీరు పెట్టుకున్నారు. ఏమనంటే అప్పులు అయిపోయినాయి, ₹1,00,00,000 దాకా అప్పులు ఉన్నాయి, కొడుకు లేడు, కూతురు తన పని తను చూసుకుంటుంది, నాకు ఏదో ఎమర్జెన్సీ కావాలంటే జూనియర్స్ వచ్చారని చెప్పేసి. కళానిధి గారి పరిస్థితి చూసి నాకు చాలా 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 ఏడుపు వచ్చిందండి, చాలా బాధేసింది. అసలు సచ్ సీనియర్ కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ తెలంగాణ ఎన్నో కేసుల గురించి వాదించారు, యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్స్లో మాట్లాడుతుంటారు, యూనో మన ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ మీడియాలో కూడా మాట్లాడుతుంటారు. అలాంటిది ఈయన పరిస్థితి ఇంత దారుణంగా ఉందని అనిపించింది. అడ్వకేట్ల పరిస్థితి, కేసులు ఫైల్ చేసుకున్న వాళ్ళ పరిస్థితి, అంటే క్లయింట్ అడ్వకేట్ ఇద్దరు పరిస్థితి అట్లనే ఉంది. దీని గురించి కూడా దిల్జిత్ సింగ్ని అడిగి తెలుసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాను. Diljit ji, recently I've seen a video of a senior advocate from Telangana, Kalanidhi ji. I think you might have heard about him. He's been telling that he's being suffered with a financial crisis, and he's also having debts around 1 crore. He was, when I was watching the video, he was literally crying in the video because of the tough financial crisis. Why this situation is being arised for senior advocates like Kalanidhi garu? What is your opinion towards the situation? What can you say about it?
See, this COVID period was tough for everybody, primarily because the courts were not functioning. Because the courts were not functioning, and wherever interim orders were given, they were all extended. So, since the requirement in the courts was not there, naturally all the advocates were much without work. It was only later on that Supreme Court started working virtually. And even when virtual courts started, there was a wide choice which was available. Supreme Court lawyers were being engaged for matters in Kerala and Karnataka and all these places at the cost of the local lawyers. It's like Mr. Harish Salve, who's sitting in London. He's the one who is appearing everywhere since the time the COVID thing started. So virtual courts have actually not been very good for the local lawyers, whereas for the lawyers who are practicing in Delhi, it was a boon.
So why still advocates are being suffered with financial crisis? One side we are telling that Indian law has been developed a lot and advocates are surviving a lot. But why the situation is still been happening?
No, see, how do advocates make money? It is only when clients come to them. When will clients come to advocates? When the matters are there in the court. Now, if the normal functioning of the court is going to be affected, naturally the earning power of the advocates is going to be adversely affected. That's exactly what has happened during Corona times.
So coming to the next subject, in the recent times, most of the journalists are being legally challenged, are being legally attacked. So recently, one of the journalists in Delhi also, whenever they're speaking something in the social media, whenever they're questioning the governments, whenever they're raising some strong and potential points against the government, files are being put on them. So what is the reason? And so what are the solutions? What are the legal solutions for this?
See, I think criminal law in India is subject matter of a lot of abuse. Such kind of a situation does not happen, let's say, in a place like America, where it is very difficult to initiate criminal proceedings. There is a hierarchy of procedures which take place, including interviews and all that, before the criminal law is initiated. However, in India, criminal law is initiated as per law. You just have to go to the police station, make a complaint. The police cannot go into the genuineness of the allegations. That's a matter of investigation, and hence FIR is registered. That is why against media people, what happens is that multifarious FIRs are being registered in different states, and that is how the Honorable Supreme Court came down very heavily in the case of Arnab Goswami, wherein there were so many FIRs which were registered everywhere after the first FIR was registered in Bombay. And they kind of, quashed all the FIRs and transferred the investigation to Bombay. So the scope of abuse of criminal law is very rampant in India, and media people are the ones who are the forebearer of the rights, and they are the ones who are basically showing the mirror to the government of the day, whether it is Congress, whether it is BJP. Politics of the matter does not matter here. So the scope of abuse of criminal law is rampant, and unfortunately,
as you know that, sorry to interrupt you, as you know that there are so many BJP leaders who are also basically advocates.
I think Congress has got more advocates than BJP.
Okay, and coming to the very sensitive matter, recently I have also requested N.V. Ramana Garu, Chief Justice of India, regarding some very sensitive point. When a person has been arrested in the police station, I requested Chief Justice to arrange some legal setup near the police station. Why? Because sometimes they are being harassed by a few police officers. They have been, allegedly hurt by the psychological harassment done by a few station officers. That time, how could a common man come out from this trouble? So, till this state, even the technology is being developed a lot. So many things are being developed a lot. But why till yet the legal setup or legal support is not being put near the police stations?
See, to answer that, I think the Honorable Supreme Court has already taken a very giant leap forward, wherein the directions have been given that all the police stations should be under CCTV coverage. Once there is CCTV coverage of the police stations and the backup of the data is kept, then the malpractice by the police officers to arrest people, to not show the arrest, to use third degree measures, that's all going to come to an end. And if a person was to make a request for calling an advocate to assist him, most of the times the police people don't even accede to that. So I think the first step, and a very significant step, has already been taken by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, wherein such directions have been given that all the police stations in the country have to be covered by CCTV footage, and there is a backup which is required to be kept.
Great. So coming to Hyderabad, what do you say about Hyderabad? And you've been associated with Hyderabad since 2011. So define Hyderabad.
I think it's a wonderful place, and the people of Hyderabad are very good. In fact, I would say that even the judicial structure in Hyderabad is very good. Now, I'll give you a very small example. In criminal courts in Delhi, there is a practice that the honorable judge is not the one who is kind of, taking down the evidence. You have one person on the left hand side, one person on the right hand side, witnesses. They are giving their statement, and the stenos are the ones who are writing down. And the judge sitting in the middle is listening to the arguments in bail and different other matters. It is only in Hyderabad that I have seen the sanctity of noting down the evidence. The judges take it very seriously. It is the judge who is noting down the evidence recorded himself.
Great.
Apart from that, my experience in Hyderabad has been wonderful. I have appeared a lot in the CBI courts, whether it was Judge Nagamaruti Sharma, whether it was Justice Durga Prasad Rao, and Judge Pulaiya. I think the finest of judges I have witnessed even in the subordinate judiciary in Hyderabad.
The recent case you have dealt with is TV9 Ravi Prakash. And how did you feel when you are dealing with the case? Because the government is anti, and it's a very tough job to get anticipatory bail. So let me know about your feelings.
See, again, like I said, the judges in Hyderabad, people will not realize it, because when you compare black with white, you can only compare black with white. If you compare white with white, there is no comparison. So since I go all over the country, I go to various high courts and subordinate courts, criminal courts, I can say that Hyderabad I would rate very highly. Even for that matter, in the High Court, liberty of an individual was given so much of importance by the Honorable Judge who was there. Justice Sridevi was the one who presided over the matter. And to see her take on the matter for 3 days continuously, patiently heard all the arguments, and in fact, at that time, the opposite side was very heavily represented, and we were representing an individual standing up to the might of the powerful people on the left hand side. I think it is only because of the sense of justice that Mr. Ravi Prakash was able to get justice from the Honorable High Court, and it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes of the judicial conscience of the judiciary that I have seen in Hyderabad, which is par excellence, whether it is in the High Court or whether it is in the subordinate courts.
Since you've been associated with Hyderabad for the past few years, have you learnt a few words of Telugu?
Yes,
Can I hear from you?
Well, I remember in 2012 or 13, I was representing MRMGF before the CBI court, and Judge Nagamaruti Sharma was there. And I said something, and the DA, the person who was representing the CBI, he said, Mr. Ahluwalia comes on with all these impossible things, all impossible. This law does not permit. So I had already prepared myself for such an eventuality. Okay. And I said, Na mata kuncham vinnedi, edi asadhyam kaduandi.
Okay.
So the moment...
Where did you hear this word?
No, I learned
Whenever I talk to you, you've been repeating the same sentence.
Because this is something which I really believe in. And whichever state I go to, whether it is Bangalore, then I can speak in that language also.
Great.
And the great thing was that when I said this, Mr. Judge Nagamaruti Sharma started talking to me in Telugu, thinking that, he knows Telugu. And then I told him, Daichesi English lo.
Okay. So, taggedele ekkada poina aa language lo maatladtaru. They'll just saying Ahluwalia. Great having a conversation with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this.
Thank you.